Hi everyone, and I just wanted to make a quick video to um, introduce myself since you've all gone through introductions. Thought it might be useful for you to know something of me and my background. And um, uh, one of you knows this already, but the rest of you are new to me in my courses. So um, hopefully this will be useful. Uh, I actually have a background that I think is somewhat analogous to a couple of you who shared, in that I had a whole career. I mean, I grew up in Britain and got an undergraduate degree in Britain in geophysics, and then did a PhD in California, Southern California, also in geophysics, and sort of had a career as a scientist, working in mainstream academia, uh, mostly working for NASA, and it's the local school nearby here. Um, so that's what I was doing. I was at the University of Washington in Seattle, and that's where I still feel like I kind of love science. There was something really missing in it for me, and a lot of it was how it didn't cover a whole lot of being a human being was left out of being a scientist. And there's also a lot of um, we can talk more about it if you ever want to, but there's the politics involved in science, and the whole game of publish and perish, and getting research grants and all of that. I didn't like playing that game. And then I had what you probably might call spiritual experiences, and these kind of blew my mind, actually, and completely changed my life. And I started to feel like I wanted to explore the inner world more than the outer world. And so eventually I left that career in science and ended up at Naropa University in Boulder, where I did a master's degree in religious studies. And I don't know if you guys know Naropa University, but it's a Buddhist-inspired university, but it's non-denominational. So in studying religious studies, I studied many different religions, but there was a particular emphasis on the contemplative elements of these religions, which I value rather than looking at orthodox aspects of religions. So honestly, I loved it. It was like a kid in a candy store, and their model of contemplative learning at Naropa really changed my life. I learned something about what I felt like real education was, and so something that's led out from within rather than sort of fed into you from without. And so that was sort of life changing. But after finishing that degree, I actually did end up working at Naropa for a while, teaching and in the administration, but that didn't suit me, and I moved on, and kind of a circuitous path since then, not really knowing what to do with science and spirituality / religion in my background. And now, of course, I'm teaching at AU, and the other thing that I do, so I ended up in Sedona, Arizona, and the other thing that I do that I love is I'm a hiking guide in Sedona. So, and I don't regard them as being very separate or different, the teaching at AU or being a hiking guide. And they're both very, very complementary. And so as you can see, sort of nature is extremely important to me. And so in sort of part of my spirituality, it's being in nature, the connection with nature, that I found a certain kind of integration or sort of wholeness there, and we can talk more about that if you like. And I don't know if any of this, but you will be asked later in the course to sort of contemplate whether your own journey represents a kind of evolution of consciousness as of the kind we might study in Ken Wilber, for example, and others. So we'll see. And I don't know if mine represents a kind of evolution in consciousness, although I did write a long essay while at Naropa looking at my own history to see if I could match it up to Ken Wilber and his integral theory. And I found that in some ways I can or could, and we can talk more about how that worked later if it becomes relevant. So that's pretty much it with me. This particular course, I came to Atlantic University, and the first course I developed was the Science and Spirituality course, which happened in the summer semester, last semester. And then I took over the Religion, Spirituality, and the Transpersonal course, which happens in the winter. I love both those courses. And then this one I inherited, and I'm slowly modifying it, but I haven't had much time to modify it much. But the first week that we've been through was my addition. I've shortened the Ken Wilber part some, but there's a lot more that needs to be added, I think. But I'll try and bring those things in via these kinds of videos in the future, so that they'll be there. So anyway, consciousness studies. You've seen the video that I put in Moodle when I first taught this course a couple of years ago, and so with this one, and I'll be making these videos and sending you videos as we go, and hopefully talking to you face to face, although finding a time for the Zoom discussions is proving challenging. Let's hope that we find one, and because those discussions are really, really important. When we sort of build up the rapport, we get a chance to talk about things in detail and get to know one another. It really makes a difference, I find. All right, so that's enough for this. Don't want to make it too long, and we'll be communicating more. All right, bye.